What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap Show, UFC 261. What a freaking fight card. One of the best we've seen in a very, very long time. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Rose. I want to apologize because, yes, I did pick against Rose because I thought this chick was just bigger, stronger, and faster. She was on a 21 fight win streak coming in, but Rose definitely was the fight of the night to me. She threw that leg kick, really connected with her, and she was out. She was definitely out. Yes, she protested after and was looking at the ref like, come on, but she was definitely out. She went limp. Shout out to Rose. She's the only woman in UFC history to regain a title, a championship. Yes, she already was champion. She got dethroned, and now she's back. She's the first woman to ever do that, to regain a championship belt. I love it. You know, and it really goes to show you anything is possible in life. Look at Rose. She's always been the underdog usually. She's always the smaller person in the fight, but it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Did you guys know this? Like, seriously, man, I am so proud of Rose. I cannot believe it, honestly. I'm really disappointed because every Rose fight I've always picked with her, and sometimes I've been wrong on the other side. The only reason I went against her this fight was strictly because this chick was on a 21 fight win streak and she seemed like nobody could stop her at that point. But that leg kick that Rose threw that she did not see coming was the X factor. And it really, she used it against her. Thug Rose, aka Thug Rose. I love her. Man, shout out. You know, she has the biggest heart. She really does, and she got in there. She was definitely an underdog going into this fight. A lot of experts were saying this, but we actually had a guy throw about 20 bands on this fight, and he picked Thug Rose, and he was right. I mean, this sports bettor, it was crazy. But, you know, shout out to Rose. What a dominant performance. You know, and obviously, I want to get to the main fight. You know, Usman and Mazadoff, yes, I said Mazadoff by knockout. I thought we'd see a round 3. But, you know, really boiled down to Mazadoff really played that first round great. But I think really the difference was Usman was catching on to what Mazadoff was going to throw at him. And I think at the end of the day, I think Mazadoff really got overconfident. You know, we saw some hits that he was taking, and he was kind of looking at Usman, laughing at Usman, and I get that. You know, we see some fighters that, hey, shake it off, shake the headshots off or the elbows. But, you know, after a while, it's like, dude, this is a championship fight. And I think Mazadoff really just took it as, hey, you know, it's my time. You know, I can be cocky. I can put my chin out and not get hit. But, you know, that's what happened. I mean, look at Anderson Silva. You know, Anderson Silva got knocked out by Chris Weidman. And speaking of Chris Weidman, I mean, oh my goodness. Everybody saw his leg snap. To me, it was disgusting. I was watching it live and I was just like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Like, I was like, dude, I'm about to throw up type shit. You know, threw a leg kick at Hall, ended up snapping his, like, lower leg, dude. Oh, dude, and he goes to step back and it, like, just instantly, dude, it's already snapped. And to me, it was disgusting. You know, Hall even gave him a shout out because I think Hall, that was his first professional loss. This was probably about a decade ago when he fought Chris, and Chris won that fight. But, you know, what Chris did, look, I don't blame him. I mean, throwing leg kicks and stuff. But we saw some UFC fighters come out and say, look, they're never throwing leg kicks after seeing that nasty crap, right? To me, you know, a big win by Hall, and I hope Chris Weidman will be back. I do believe that, and that was the story with him and Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva got overconfident, you know, and he got pieced up and knocked out. You know, same thing with Mazadoff. When Mazadoff's over here smiling, getting hit, you know, to the extreme, it's like, hey, you know, this is a professional fight. This is for a championship fight. This is a 5-round fight. I don't want Mazadoff to be out here smiling, you know, looking at the camera, you know, looking at, trying to size up Usman. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the first round, I would say the edge goes to Usman a little bit. And Mazadoff just came out a little too comfortable and really had his hands down. You know, we're seeing what's next for Usman. Obviously, pound for pound, number 1. I would put him at number 1. I would put him, really, I would put him in front of Francis Ngannou right now because he's the most active fighter right now and he's been winning. And we're hearing shots from, you know, one of the nemesis, the number 1 right now, Colby Covington. He's coming out, calling shots at Usman, saying, you know, some of the fight was, you know, he faked some injuries in the fight. You know, I do believe we'll get a second shot at that fight. And I do believe, yes, for Usman, you know, that's probably his hardest competition right now is that Colby Covington. And a lot of people hate on Colby Covington, including myself. I think he talks too much. But look, if he beats Usman, yes, he has the right to talk, but you got to beat Usman first. In that first fight, he did lose by a TKO, and he claims, hey, I do think the ref should have lasted the fight a little longer. This is a 5-round fight. It went 5 rounds and like less than a minute to go in the fight. And he was kind of moving with the punches. Yes, I get it. He was down on the mat, but still knock him out unconscious. Colby gets up and protests, which I kind of feel him in a way, with the fight, how it went, from the leg kick that he said he got hit in the nuts, and Usman was kind of faking it, really, though, and I think that really changed the fight. I think if Usman doesn't fake that injury and he really kind of got hurt, we saw Colby really controlling the pace here and there, threw a little bit more strikes, and I would say that fight was even going into the 5th round, but overall, I cannot take anything away from Usman. He's the champion right now. He's the top dog. I believe he's the pound-for-pound number 1 right now. I mean, let's be honest. Who's in front of Usman right now? And to me, I want to see Usman and Colby Covington fight that number 2. I think that'll be great. I think they'll fight in August, hopefully. I mean, Usman didn't really take a lot of damage in this fight at all. It's just another day in the gym. But for Mazadoff, what's next for him? Look, I would still, he's still going to be in the fight game, but you know what, Mazadoff, where he's come from fighting in the backyards, not really grown up with much, to having really everything he's ever wanted, to Mazadoff, he's probably already made it. Do you know what I'm saying? If we're talking business-wise, stuff like that. But I think we will see Mazadoff again, and I get it, he's 35-15, not the best MMA record, but look, dude, hats off to Mazadoff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of cats won't even want to fight Usman. Let's be straight up honest here. And I think ego played a big part in that. I really do. I think if Mazadoff wasn't as cocky, I really do think that fight, he could have definitely still been in that fight. I think he might have missed that punch what Usman threw at him because, Mazadoff was just standing up there really just overconfident, way too much. It was to the point where it's bro, you shouldn't be dabbing your chin out like that. And Usman really had power, and we saw that. Mazadoff said he didn't realize how much power he had. For real. I mean, seriously, dude. But hats off to Usman, and I do think in the future we will see Usman and Colby Covington for a number 2 fight, and I think that's going to be epic as well. But in another fight with the woman, Jessica versus Valentina. Shout out to Valentina. She's a kickboxer. I ended up picking her. She won in dominant fashion, dominated the fight. To me, she's one of the pound-for-pound best woman fighters. Obviously, Amanda Nunes is the best woman fighter right now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. She went through all the division. Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm, the list goes on and on and on, dude. I'm telling you what, Miesha Tate, Amanda Nunes is the best women's fighter right now. She is the pound-for-pound number 1. I'll put Valentina up there, no doubt about it. I 100%. And then we got Anthony Smith versus that Jimmy dude. The Jimmy dude was 12-1 coming into this fight. Look, we had another scenario where he threw a leg kick at Anthony. Anthony Smith, a really smart fighter, veteran, been in the octagon for a long, long time, so he knows the ropes. Anyway, he throws another kick and ends up I don't know. I think Anthony threw the kick at him and really hurt his leg or his calf, and he said the fighter couldn't walk after that. So he came out for round 2, and the referee said, look, we're calling this fight. You can't even walk on your leg. And shout out to Anthony Smith. I picked Anthony Smith in this fight. I said, I really think, the discipline, the experience was really going to come out into play in this fight, and it did. The first fight, into the main card, I loved it. And we kind of had a great, the championship fights were all knockouts, dude. It was amazing to me. It really was. And obviously the fight of the night, I'll definitely go to Rose. No doubt about it, dude. The smallest girl out there, yet she's winning, dude. She's winning and doing that secret leg kick where it was just dude, I love it, dude. I always want to see the underdog win, and she was definitely a heavy underdog going into this fight. And what's next for us? She's a champion now. So it's really who's going to dethrone her. I think she's going to stay up a while. Now, if I were to make a bet here, who's going to stay the longest, Amanda Nunes or her? 100%, I got Amanda Nunes. I think Amanda Nunes is going to stay at the top for at least 5 years, another 5 years. And people are like, Cap, how? I mean, she has it all. She can wrestle you. She can box you. She can throw leg kicks. She can strike. She can do really whatever she wants to do. That's the difference between Amanda Nunes and all the other women fighters out there. But to me, it's going to be great. But like I said, for Mazadoff, it's back to the X and O drawing board. Obviously, he's not going to get a championship fight anytime soon. If I was Mazadoff, I would try to fight, Obviously, he's not probably going to get the Colby Covington fight right away, but who knows? Maybe go after McGregor or somebody. Once McGregor and Poirier end up fighting again this in July, I believe it is, for the third time. But to me, I just want to see some action here. I want to see Mazadoff still continue to fight, and I think he will. I think he'll get another opportunity. I just think Usman, it was definitely a mismatch. No doubt about it. I was done picking Mazadoff. No doubt. If we were looking at the numbers and breaking it down, a lot of people would say Usman because he's a better wrestler. And we really underestimated Usman's striking. And back to the Colby Covington Usman, we saw Usman really break Colby Covington's jaw. Literally the same punch that he threw with Mazadoff against Colby Covington that ended up breaking Colby Covington's jaw. And I think that was towards the end of the third round of their fight in that 5-round fight. And really, Colby kept coming, which was crazy, right? The same punch, but it was just a little different because he got a little bit more inch on it. When he hit Mazadoff, and I knew immediately when Mazadoff got caught with that right, he just immediately went limp and hit him and then just fell to the ground. I knew it was over. And I was like, wow, back to reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mazadoff ended up getting baptized. To whereas we see Mazadoff knocking dudes out, right? In that octagon. This time it was definitely tasted of his own medicine. I think it was really a reality check. But I do, I'm not really worried about Mazadoff. He can go to different, if he wants to retire tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm done with the UFC, I wouldn't care because, he really fulfilled his dreams, right? From fighting in the backyards with Kimbo Slice to being in the main fight of a UFC event in Florida, in Jacksonville. It was great. The fans were there. So I think this is great for the UFC. And I've said it many times before. The UFC is the fastest growing sport in the world. It really is, dude. I'm telling you what, dude. They're going nationwide now. And they're going, obviously, they fought, where was it? I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were fighting overseas, Fight Island, in Dubai. So to me, it was like, UFC's really expanding. Dana White's super smart, and he knows what he's doing. 100%. So I cannot wait, but I think it's great for Florida, the state of Florida, to have fans back in there. There was about 17,000 fans watching UFC 261, and it was great, dude. Great atmosphere, and I think, for fighters, for instance, like Conor McGregor, it is better to fight in front of fans, right? Instead of fighting in front of like 5 or 10 people, you can't feel the people's energy. You just can't get in tune to that like you would when there's over 17 or 20,000 people in one little building, right? To where you can really go off the anger. You can go off there wherever they're booing you or cheering for you. You can really feed into that. Athletes feed into that. So I'm really glad that they're going back to the fan base now, and I think that's going to be a positive for Conor McGregor moving in the future. But for Usman, 100%. It's going to be another title defense with Usman. I think this is his 4th or 5th title defense, which is crazy to me. I think it might be 5 now. George St. Pierre, I believe, was 9. Somewhere in that area, or maybe that was Anderson Silva. But look, for Usman, it's definitely a fight against Colby Covington. People want to see it. Colby Covington likes to talk that crap. So to me, I want to see it. He's hungry. So is Usman. He's the champion. It makes sense. So if I'm Dana White in the UFC, I'm saying this is the fight we need. We need Colby Covington versus Usman, and it's going to be epic. That's the future. Rose is going to be in there. I cannot wait. The UFC's looking great. I cannot wait to see what it holds, baby. UFC 261 did not disappoint, baby. It's the Clown with Cap show. Let's go!